Hello everyone, Pastor Greg again, Dr. Marks. What if I sin? That is a question that every single person who commits their life to Jesus Christ, because they came to Him in the first place because they sinned, you're probably going to continue to sin occasionally. Not habitually, not as a lifestyle, but if you do stumble, what do you do?
Well, the first thing we have to recognize is that we are all going to keep doing that. Until we leave this life, we're all going to struggle against it. In fact, 1 John chapter 1, verse 8 says, if we say we have no sin, we're lying, and the truth is not in us. In other words, don't play that game, because some people do. Well, now that I'm a Christian, I'm in the We're Better Than You club, and I don't make any mistakes anymore. Okay, that's a lie.
Sure.
All right. We still are going to fight this war. That's what 1 John 1 is saying. Well, the very next verse is one of my personal favorites, and this is one of the few places in the Bible where I really know the address, because I quote this one a lot. 1 John 1:9. It says, if we confess our sin, let me focus in on that word confess. That means own up to it. That means
acknowledge.
I blew this. I don't have any excuses. Because we all love excuses. We all love, well, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for X, Y, or Z. No, just own up to it, man. You did it. All right? Okay, if we confess our sin, that means Jesus, He's just. That means that He died on the cross for us. The justice is there. He's already taken care of it. That means He's just and He's able to forgive us from our sin and then to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Now, there's a difference between those two things. Sin is, we got to understand what sin is. That's an intentional choice we make to do something that is offensive to God. It's a choice. We made that, we did it. But unrighteousness is different. That's just being a knucklehead. That's just, you do something, it's unintentional and it's still out of line. It's still wrong.
Sure.
Both of those things, both the intentional and the unintentional. That's what the Bible is saying here, is that if you confess it, you and own up to it, He's got them both covered.
Sins of omission and of commission.
Yeah, you shoulda, but you didn't. All of that. He can cleanse it all. And so, what if I sin? The bottom line is, well, we all do sin. So there's no what if about it. So you're
sure. Acknowledge, first of all, you're going to.
That's it.
And all of us will,
We all do. But we confess it, we own up to it, and we trust. We put our trust that He's able to wash that away. The devil's going to jump on you. Now, when I say the devil, that's the Christianese coming out again.
Sure.
There's going to be attitudes.
Satan's influence and
attitudes in the heart. It could be truly demonic thought, or it could be just thoughts that are going to come after you, and they're going to condemn. They're going to say, well, you did this and you did that. You're so horrible. People will say this.
Sure.
How you call yourself a Christian and you went out and said that, did this, used that kind of foul language, whatever. There's going to be accusations. But if you confess your sin and you go, no, wait a minute. Yeah, I was wrong. I did that. But I trust that God can wash that away. And I'm going to put my trust in that. You don't have to be condemned. You don't have to be down on yourself all the time.
So own it.
Own it.
Take it to Jesus.
You got it.
And acknowledge it, right? Yeah. I mean, own it is really the same thing, but I want to just say acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That is humility in its finest form. I'm going to be transparent for a minute here. This really opened my eyes because as a new believer, I got married, and I know my wife would approve of me saying this. We went through our typical relational struggles, and I got into a habit for a while that I didn't realize. If she said or did something that I wasn't pleased with, I started justifying doing either that exact same thing or something of that nature back.
Getting even.
Get even. Justice, right? Whatever, however we want to phrase it. And it all of a sudden hit me like a ton of bricks one day. And I said, she's not responsible for me. The only person I am responsible for is me. And when that sunk in, all of a sudden, I just had to focus on myself. And it's amazing how much better things can get if we do that. And if this is a relational issue, the man needs to do that and the woman needs to do that. they'll live in peace. And when we do fall short, when we do sin, there's grace to be a buffer. You know, I think of it as like cars on a road, right? You intentionally have to stay far enough behind traffic, and the faster you go, the bigger of a grace buffer you need, because if they do something, they go sideways, they hit the brakes, doesn't matter. The person who hits them is always in trouble. And you need to give yourself a good enough grace buffer in relationships to avoid hitting people, right?
I would absolutely agree with that. You know, that key verse that we talked about before, for all have sinned, that would cover all. I checked. Okay, so
every single person.
Yeah, it's because we want to look at, I can't believe he did that, or she did that, or he said this, or he did that. Well, why not? That's what people do, and you're a people. So that means we're all in the same boat. So if I want somebody to cut me a break, give me some slack, I need to do the same thing, go in the other direction. And if I don't, I'm being a hypocrite.
Sure.
You know.
And a lot of these things come back to humility.
Well, that's what humility is.
If you seek the heart of Jesus, you will not be able to avoid seeking his humility.
And we got to understand what that means too, because humility is not walking around going, "Oh, I'm navel lent. You know, I'm so horrible. I'm nothing. I'm dirt." That's not, you know, because really what that is it's going, "Oh, I'm so horrible. Here, tell me it's not true."
Not thinking less of yourself, thinking of yourself less, right?
Yeah, thinking of yourself less. It's recognized. Humility is going, you know, none of us get this right, so I'm gonna cut you as much slack as I want you to cut me.
Sure.
And that's how it works. Yeah.
Awesome.
So.